is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I created this Valentine's Day Dollar Tree straw hat wreath. Alright everyone, so on my desk here I have all the supplies that I'm going to be using. We'll start off with this little straw hat. I grabbed this from the Dollar Tree. It's a very soft kind of, you know, lightweight hat, but I think it'll serve the purpose for our project. Of course you can use a straw hat that you may already have in your home. I'm going to be reusing some greenery. So here I've got some fern and some ivy. And your greenery will do just fine. I've also got some flowers. I've got these roses from the Dollar Tree. They're a single stem. They're really pretty. I got 6 of them. I think these are going to go fast. So if you can't find them, just grab whatever you want to use, or maybe you already have some flowers in your home. From the Dollar Tree, I also grabbed some ribbon. So I have a 2.5-inch wide ribbon here that I'll be using for a bow. I want to replace this pink strand there with another ribbon, and I don't have one the same width, but I do have this thin one that just happens to coordinate with this one. And this is a 5/8 inch wide. It's also from the Dollar Tree, and it is from their Valentine collection, all these items, by the way. Alright, so my tools are just going to be some wire cutters. I'm going to be using scissors. I'll use a little bit of twine, a piece of chenille stem, and of course I'm going to need some hot glue sticks with my gun. So there we go. Let's get to crafting. Alright, so the first thing I've done is I've removed the tag that was on here, and now I've removed this little band that was around here. It did have a little bit of a glue where it was attached, but I just gently pulled on it and it all came off. So there we go. Now we want to turn it over, and just whatever part of it you decide to be the top, you just choose that side. And then we're going to grab some twine and just cut it just about the length, just double it, of this brim part. And then we're going to take the ends here that we've cut and make a double knot. And just make sure that your little loop right here, when you put it on here, doesn't go beyond it, just right inside of the brim. Okay, so make sure you knot it right there. That's a good size. I'm going to do another knot. Okay, so now that knot can get glued on there. So we'll have a little thing here to hang our hat. Alright, so we're just going to let that dry so we can then turn it over and work on the front. Okay, so my next step is to add my thin ribbon around my hat like that. And I'll be gluing it as I put it down. So just a couple of dots of glue here and there. You don't have to put it all the way around. Alright, so I'm coming to the end. I'm just going to trim off my ribbon and finish it off. Just like that. Now you could start it off with a little tail coming down like that. Go around and then finish off with another tail if you wanted to do that. But I'm going to be using that wider ribbon to create a bow. So I feel like that's going to get hidden away. So this is good enough. As you can see, it doesn't lie flat up against the hat here because it does go at an angle. So you just want to glue it in some little spots here and there. You don't have to do the whole thing. Alright, next step. Alright, so now I want to put some greenery on my hat. And I want to make a floral bouquet right around my hat. I want it up here on the side, and then right here I'm going to put a bow. So there's not going to be anything here. So all the time I want to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on where my little hanger is, because that will be the top of my hat. An easy way to do that would be to maybe put a little piece of tape there so that you always see the top of the hat and you don't forget where you're at. Okay, so I'm going to use this piece of fern, and it's a little big, so I'm actually going to trim some of it by removing some of these bottom little leaves here, and then just trimming the stem. Okay, top is right here, and I want a fern to be peeking out, you know, the top of my bouquet that I'm putting on my hat. So I want to, here's my little hanger, there's my hanger, and I want it to kind of wrap around a little bit around it. So I'm just going to curve it a little bit like that, and now I can place some glue and glue it down. And I'm just gluing it down from the stem because I don't want this part to be flat down. I want it to have some movement on my hat. Okay, so now that I've established that fern, I'm going to put another one down here somewhere. So I'm going to take another leaf and cut a little bit more. Again, you don't have to be using ferns, okay? You can use whatever greenery you might have. But just establish your height and somewhere in the middle of where you want it to be, and then somewhere down here low. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I'll trim off the stem. Again, I've got my top up here. This is the bottom center, right like that. And I want this leaf, well actually I want it to curve out a little bit. Kind of somewhere in the middle of what my bouquet and bow will be. So again, some more glue. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've moved my hat so that it is like as if you were looking at it like that. Here's the top. I can feel the little hanger right here. And like I said, I put a leaf going upward and then one coming off the side. And this will be my bottom where my bow is going to be. So in here I want some flowers. So I'm going to take 3 of them for now. I really don't need to cut off the, the label because I'm actually going to cut up way up here. And then I'll just cut off that little stem where this little leaf is. So just cut off, if you have a bush or something, just cut off some flowers like that and cut off some leaves so that you can use those. Now I'm going to curve my rose a little bit because I wanted to mimic the shape of this top leaf, because this is going to be the rose that's going to be way up here. Now I want to make sure, let me get some glue. I want to make sure that there's lots of glue there for my stem to glue down onto, otherwise it'll just come right off. And anywhere where it's touching, I'll put some glue. Alright, so I've got a flower at the height that I want it. I forgot to do one thing, and I always say this, bend your flower upward. There you go. So that it's facing front, like that, rather than facing up into the ceiling. Okay, let's glue this back down because it's moving on me. Alright, next flower. It's a little long, so I'm going to cut it right there, and then I'll cut off that leaf on a stem on its own, and then of course the other one. Okay, I'm setting aside these little leaves because I am going to be using them. Okay, so now I want a flower in the middle. I'm going to bend right there so it's facing front, and I want to put this flower pointing outward this way. Now if you have some other little flowers you can use, that would be wonderful to fill in here, maybe like some little baby's breath or something like that. I know Dollar Tree has a little bush and some little white, I like a gypsophilia. You might want to try those. Those are really pretty. Okay, I'm going to prepare my next stem the same way that I just did this one, and we'll be back. Alright, so this one I'm bending it as much as I can here. And I want to put this one right about here. So I create like a little V here. See that? That's a little trio, and then I'll go ahead and put some glue down. And just hold it so that it dries. Alright, so now I've got these little stems. Now, some of these stems, or these leaves I should say, are on a little stem because I've cut them on a stem. I'm going to go ahead and leave them on there because it'll give them a little bit extra length so they're not so far down into my little arrangement here, my little, what did I say earlier? Haha, my little bouquet. So I'm going to start gluing these in. Let's put this one on top of this fern leaf here. I just want to fill in right now. Okay, so I've done that. And then I can take these, and I can actually take them off of the stem here and just make it a little shorter bit. A little bit of glue there. Go behind the flower here and just put it in there. Now, how much of this am I going to put? We're going to wait on these because I do have some ivy that I also want to add on. And plus I also want to add a bow to this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set the leaves and the hat aside and work on our bow. Our bow is going to go right here at the bottom of our hat. So let's face the bottom towards you. Okay, so I'm just going to take about 8 inches to create a little tail, and we're going to pinch it together, okay? Just kind of like gather it and pinch it. And make your first loop. And I usually do about 6 to 8 inches of ribbon to do a loop. I think I'm going to go maybe closer to 6 right now because I don't want the bow to be like too big because this is a small hat. So I'm going to go to closer to about 6 inches. Making sure the pretty side of the ribbon is always facing up. Pinch it and then just grab them together. And then I'm going to twist so I can have the pretty side of the ribbon also facing out again. I'll use this same loop to measure out this loop. There we go, just like that. And I know that's the size. Pinch it right there. And then I can twist it again and continue making as many loops as I want. So let's do that. Okay, so I think I'm going to do 8 loops, so I've got 4 on each side. Leave enough for the tail and then just trim it off. And I'm going to use this chenille stem, and I just have about 6 inches of wire. This is a chenille stem to wrap around. And then twist your bow. So the chenille stem tightens up upward that way rather than just twisting the little ends. And then it'll be really loose and all the loops will come apart. And when you try to shape them around, you'll be pulling on them and just misshaping your whole bow. This one needs to be a little bit shorter. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now I can take the ends and do my little, I used to call these little snake tongues, but most everybody calls them dovetails. So we're going to call that a dovetail. Alright, so I had a little bit of ribbon left over, so I'm going to go ahead and use that as well. And I'm just going to get the ends again and cut those as well. And then I'm just going to pinch somewhere in the middle. It doesn't have to be even. I'm going to take this and just pinch them. You could take another piece of wire or chenille stem or actually attach it along with the bow that you've already made. But I'm going to go ahead and just put some glue there and place it down. I want to make sure this is my center. Here's where it's going to hang from. So right here. There we go. I don't want that to move, so I'm going to put some glue down like that. So now I can take my bow, and I usually like to twirl these little ends into a little coil here, flatten it up, and then I can put glue on that, so that'll glue down, okay? And then just push it in there and hold it till it's dry, and then we'll continue with decorating our hat. Alright, I decided that I want to use 5 of the flowers that I had. I have 6, but I'm going to save this one so I can do a corsage. So I'll have another video for you. Alright, so let's take these little roses, and again I cut them just where the next leaf would be. I just need this little stem to be like that because the leaf would be too low when I tuck it in. So I'm going to put some glue on it, like always, and tuck it in under the bow right here. Leave a little space there for some leaves. I'm going to take the other one, and I'm actually going to go over to the other side. I want my bouquet to kind of come out of this way also. I don't want it too tucked in. I'm going to put it a little bit higher so I can put lots of little leaves right in front of it. Alright, to keep this one flower from wanting to go flat, I put a little bit of glue on the petal behind it and just sticking it here to the side of the hat so it'll stand there. And I'll put some more glue down here just to make sure, because I kind of pulled on it when I was doing that. Alright, so now that I've got that, and of course you can see the stem there, don't worry, we're going to cover it. We're going to take more of these leaves and tuck them in to hide all of that. You can do the same to this one over here. Actually, this one I'm just going to take it off the stem. A little bit of glue right here. And just tuck it in behind the bow to make sure that it's just covering any stems. Alright, so I have some stems left over. I'll go ahead and save those for another project. Well, as you can see, it's already looking really pretty. So I'm going to add some of this ivy now to it. And I've got these long bits. So I'm going to take them apart. I want it to stick out a little bit more. So let's find another spot for it. I think way up here. Okay, so I'm going to add some glue to this little tip here. Tuck it in. You want to make sure you put plenty of glue on your items, because then they will come apart. I'm going to add some glue to this leaf right here just so that it sticks here to the side because it keeps wanting to pull out. And see, now this is the top of my hat. Here's the little string. So now I've got this ivy going around the top part here, which is really pretty. Okay, we're gonna let that dry before I move it around. I am gonna glue down a little leaf here, just so it doesn't move on me. I'm gonna tuck it in behind the bow here. And there we go. I'm actually gonna put a little bit of glue on the stem so it kind of glues to the side of this rose here. There we go. Okay, so now I've got some little bits, little stems of the ivy. They were in an arrangement before. And I'm going to use just a few of these to tuck here and there. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm just going to cut a little bit off the stem. It's a little too long. And then you know what? I'm going to fold it up a little bit like that. Put lots of glue on it. And then tuck it in. Make sure it's touching the hat. Look how pretty that looks. It's looking really nice and full. I think I'll do another little stem right here. Right in there. There we go. Now it doesn't look so bare right there. So the only thing that I want to do now is just go through there and just make sure all my leaves did glue down, that I can't pull anything out. And there we go. And there we go, everyone. My project is complete. I think it looks really lovely. Some cute little white flowers tucked in here and there would have really highlighted it and given it some more life. But as you can see, it looks really pretty, and you could add whatever color flowers you want for any occasion. Spring is coming up, and you want to keep in mind that also Mother's Day will be coming up. So besides Valentine's Day, this would make a great gift for any occasion. And of course, it is super easy to do. You don't need to buy any expensive flowers. And again, the flowers are from the Dollar Tree, and so are the ribbon and the hat. But if you have a hat at home that you can recycle for this project, go right ahead and do that. Please forgive me that I'm not in the video. I've been outside gardening quite a bit, pulling out dandelions, and I think the allergies have really gotten to me. It's really hard to talk, as a matter of fact. But anyway, I wasn't feeling up to it, you guys, but I really wanted to do a second video for this week. Sorry it's not a recipe video again. I'm just not inspired to cook. But I did get inspired to make this little hat when I was going through my supplies, and I think the little hat looks wonderful. So I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below. Something nice, of course. You guys are always super awesome with your comments. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. You can hit the red subscribe button. Oops, sorry, my big old finger. Or there's a little icon here for my channel. You can push that, and you can subscribe through there as well. And then a little bell will appear next to subscribed. Hit that, so you get notified of when I put up my videos, and I try to do 2 videos a week. Forgive me, I'm having trouble speaking. I'll stop now. Make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.